Hello and welcome. I'm Bryce.cosplay and I'll be showing you how I styled my Jinx wig from the Arcane. If this is your first time seeing me, welcome in, and I hope you enjoy my videos. I have a lot more tutorial-based content and vlog-based content, and if you are here from a different video, thanks for checking this one out. So this wig is quite old. It's about 5 years old, so it's been through a lot. It is originally and has always been my Jinx wig, so it has gone through many different restyles. Not all of them look the same, but I kind of like that way. What I am doing here is I'm just gently detangling this wig and brushing it out, making sure it is nice and smooth. If I run into any issues, if it's a little too knotted or just snagging on my brush too much, what I do is I take my straightener, which is a little bit heated, not too much, just well within the range of the heat resistance of this wig, and just lightly dragging it through, warming up the fibers to loosen them up. And then just going through with my comb towards the cap of the wig itself, just to make sure I'm not pulling the cap too hard with my brush. Wide tooth combs and very thin, easy, flexible brushes are a godsend for detangling wigs. And so that is what I'm using here. The straightener also helps kind of straighten any of the fibers that have bounced up and made a little bit more of a wave than I wanted to, because this wig has been in a braid for so often. It's kind of got that natural fibered wave to it, if that makes sense. But yeah, so we're just detangling, brushing it out, and smoothing it down right now. Sections help a lot with this as well. Make sure you start from the bottom. Small sections, even though it will take a while, will make your life a lot easier. Same with the bangs. Steamers help if you don't have a straightener or any hot tool that kind of isn't a crimper. When you are brushing out wigs, doesn't matter if they're freshly washed or not, you always want to make sure you're getting right where your wig meets your neck, because that place is going to be the most tangled and knotted of the bunch, and it just makes your life easier and prevents mats from getting formed into the wig. Some of my favorite tools are actually just a simple wet brush, which is a very thin bristled brush, and a wide tooth comb, as well as a straightener. Those are the tools that I use on almost every single project, and they've never let me down. Other cosplayers will have their favorite recommended tools, but those are mine. If you have an incredibly stubborn knot, you do not have to immediately cut it like some people would tell you. You just want to first isolate the tangle, and then get as much hair out of it as possible, which sometimes is very simple. And taking a wide tooth comb at an angle, you just lightly kind of brush it down. Sometimes you have to start at the end, other times you have to just kind of just slowly pick at it. And then easy peasy lemon squeezy, it is gone. This is another example, so just pull out as much hair as possible, like so. If it's not coming out, then you just take your comb at the angle, brushing from the bottom. Sometimes helps a lot more than just going at it. And then, sorry, this really long wig. You could also loosen the fibers a bit more with a bit of heat, whether it's a straightener or a steamer. And just nice and easy, picking it apart like so. Personally, for myself, I do not like the look of crimp marks. In fact, I think it kind of looks a little weird, but that's on me and not everybody else's opinion. But that being said, I do like the effect that crimping gives. So instead of doing a full crimped wig, I only do half of a wig. I'll take the bottom half sections and then I'll crimp it, and immediately upon finishing that crimp, I will brush it out so there's very little marks involved. It'll give you the same effect, but it won't give you the same amount of crimp marks on your wig. For this wig, I absolutely love doing the side French braids. It's really simple. All you have to do is section a small piece into 3 and then start the braid as you would do it, and then slowly add hair. You don't have to actually add hair to both sides like I'm doing. You could do it on one side, or you don't even have to do a French braid. You could just do her classic 2 braids in the back. I just like doing it this way because I find it gives a little bit nicer of a texture, and on top of that, I also like leaving out little face framing pieces because I think they look cute. Real talk though, I think this wig actually took me about half an hour alone just to braid because it is so long. Does it look pretty? Yes, but that's half an hour's worth of braiding, which is wild. When you go to tease a wig or backcomb a wig, they're the same thing, but some people call it different things. You want to make sure your sections are incredibly clean and neat. It just makes your life a heck of a lot easier with this, because you don't want to, if you're making spikes that you have a certain amount that you want done, you don't want to be pulling hairs from other places, because then it can look really weird and just not fit, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but you want to make sure your sections are incredibly clean and easy. But all you do is make sure you get a good grip of that hair. Take your comb. It does not have to be a teasing comb. It could just be a regular comb. I find teasing combs just kind of help. And you take from the top and you just drag down. That's all you do. You drag down. And then you can set it with hairspray and a blow dryer on cold, not hot, cold, just to set it. But you don't have to. You could just kind of brush it out immediately after. I just find that it helps kind of make it stay and hold structure a bit easier. Once you're done, either letting it cool or just done teasing, you brush it out. You don't want to brush it out all the way, but you want to make sure that it is nice and smooth and not visible. The teasing or backcombing is not visible on the outside. You want it all internally. I use a comb to do most of it, and then I just kind of, the spots that need it, I'll go through with a wide tooth comb once again. And then, because I like to do it, you just gives it more structure and more stability. I'll backcomb once again. Until I'm satisfied with the results, I will continue doing that process. Sometimes I'll bounce between doing it with a comb and doing it with a brush. You don't need any specific tool to do it as long as it has bristles or teeth in order to grab the hair. Once I'm done and I'm satisfied with how the backcombing looks, I will go through and refine the shape of it with a comb and then either a steamer or my straightener, sometimes both, just to add the heat to lock everything in place, as well as get any flyaways that kind of are way too stubborn down. You could also give more shape to it this way, as well as add a bit more lift with heat. Once it cools, wigs tend to stay in the shape that they were cooled in. Pins will help with the structure of that as well. You'll see in a few minutes here. And then just kind of fixing the face framing, getting it to how I kind of like it, and then locking it all in place with some extra hairspray as a bit of a last resort kind of vibe. But that is how I made and styled this Jinx wig. I hope you found it educational and entertaining. Thank you.